Have you ever had that feeling? You've worked incredibly hard, you hit some big goal, maybe a promotion, finished a huge project,
Yeah, you finally get there.
and it just feels empty. Like you
Yeah.
climb this ladder super efficiently, you were so fast, but then you look up.
And realize it's leaning against the completely wrong wall.
Exactly. That feeling. It's like being busy, but not effective.
That's precisely the problem our source material tackles head on. We're often told, just work harder, be more positive, learn these techniques.
The quick fixes.
Right. But the core idea here is that the absolute first step to real effectiveness isn't just more effort. It's the accuracy of your internal map.
Our map. Okay, that sounds a bit abstract. Why is my map more important than, say, my motivation?
Well, because that map dictates where you point all that motivation. We all have these mental maps, these paradigms that shape how we see everything. They're often unconscious. The classic example, and it's a great one, is that optical illusion, the drawing, where you can see either a young woman or an old woman.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Right. So two perfectly reasonable, intelligent people can look at the exact same picture.
And see totally different things.
And both are technically right based on their perception,
Wow.
but they disagree fundamentally because they're conditioned, their map is different.
Huh. So if my paradigm, my map is off, then all the hustle, all the positive thinking just gets me to the wrong place faster.
Precisely. You're just efficiently going in the wrong direction.
So how do we even start to check if our map is right? That seems like the crucial first step.
It involves a shift in focus, a pretty fundamental one, actually. It means moving away from what the source calls the personality ethic, the focus on image, skills, tactics, the surface stuff.
Like quick tips and tricks for success.
Exactly. And instead, committing to the character ethic, which means building from the inside out. It's about integrity, humility, courage. The foundational stuff.
Inside out. Okay.
And these 7 habits we're diving into, they're like sequential stages of growth. They're designed to shift those core mental maps. They guide you from dependence.
Like relying on others for validation or direction.
Through independence, which is self-mastery.
Okay.
And ultimately to effective interdependence, working effectively with others.
Got it. So we're basically charting that whole journey today. You mentioned 3 phases.
That's right. Habits 1, 2, and 3 lead to what's called private victory. That's mastering yourself.
Independence.
Then habits 4, 5, and 6 lead to public victory. That's effective collaboration and relationships. Interdependence.
And the last one.
Habit 7 is renewal, keeping everything sharp and balanced.
Okay, let's dive into that foundation then. The private victory. Habit 1. Be proactive. This term gets used a lot.
It does.
But what does it really mean? The source talks about responsibility.
Yeah, and it's more than just taking initiative. It's recognizing a fundamental human freedom. See, reactive people often feel like victims of circumstance.
Right. Blaming the boss, the economy, their upbringing.
Exactly. They genuinely believe the problem is out there. And the irony is that very belief is the problem because it makes them powerless. Proactivity is the understanding that between what happens to you, the stimulus, and how you react the response. But there's a space. And in that space lies your power, your freedom to choose your response.
That's a powerful idea. And the source uses Viktor Frankl's experience.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, talk about an extreme example. In the Nazi death camps, facing unimaginable horror and external control, he discovered that they could control his environment, his body even, but they could not take away his freedom to choose his internal response, his attitude, his perspective. That's the last of the human freedoms.
Wow. Okay, so how do we apply that day to day, not thankfully in such extreme circumstances?
Practically, it means focusing your energy. We all have a huge circle of concern, all the things we worry about, global politics, the economy, other people's choices.
Things we can't really control.
Right. Proactive people, however, focus their time and energy on their circle of influence, the things they can actually do something about.
Like their own work, their attitude, how they treat people?
Exactly. Their choices, their responses, their commitments. And the interesting thing is, as you focus on your circle of influence, it actually starts to expand. You become more influential.
I like the shift in language the source points out too. Reactive people focus on the haves, like, if only I had a better boss.
Yeah, I'd be more motivated, yeah.
There's proactive people focus on the B's. I can be more resourceful, be more diligent, be more creative.
It's a shift from victim to agent. It even changes how you view concepts like love. For reactive people, love is this feeling that just happens or doesn't.
It comes and goes.
Yeah. But for a proactive person, love is a verb. It's something you do.
You choose to love through actions like
serve, sacrifice, listen deeply, empathize, appreciate. It's an active choice built on values.
Okay, so once we're proactive, once we've chosen our response, habit 1, where do we direct that energy?
That leads straight into habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. This habit is grounded in a simple principle. Everything is created twice.
Twice. How so?
First, there's the mental creation, the blueprint, the vision, the plan. Then there's the physical creation, the actual building, the execution.
Ah, okay. Like building a house. First, the architect's plans.
Then the construction crew. Habit 2 is about taking charge of that first creation, the mental one. It's the essence of personal leadership.
And the source suggests, a pretty intense exercise to get clarity on that first creation.
Yeah.
Visualizing your own funeral.
It is intense, isn't it? But incredibly effective. You imagine yourself there listening to speakers, maybe a family member, a friend, a colleague, someone from your community.
What do you genuinely want them to say about your life?
Yeah.
About your character, your contributions, the difference you made?
It forces you past the urgent day-to-day stuff and connects you to your deepest values, what truly matters in the grand scheme.
And that deep reflection forms the basis for creating a personal mission statement.
Exactly. It's not just some corporate buzzword here. It's your personal constitution, your blueprint, your compass. It helps ensure that your daily actions, your physical creations, are actually aligned with that ultimate end in mind.
This really highlights the difference the source makes between leadership and management. They often get blurred.
Hugely blurred. Leadership is about deciding what's truly important, defining that end in mind, choosing the right jungle to be in, as the analogy goes. Management is about efficiency, climbing the ladder fast, cutting through the undergrowth effectively.
But if you're in the wrong jungle,
then all the efficient management in the world won't help you. You'll just arrive at the wrong destination more quickly. Leadership must come first.
think about someone like Bill Gates, post-Microsoft. His end in mind shifted to these huge global health goals, like eradicating malaria.
Right, that powerful vision, that leadership, directs all the subsequent management and resource allocation. It's a clear first creation.
Okay, so we're proactive. Habit 1. We have a clear destination. Habit 2. Now, how do we actually make it happen day to day? That leads to habit 3. Put first things first.
This is where the rubber meets the road. It's the practical application, the physical creation, fueled by habits 1 and 2. It requires independent will to manage yourself effectively.
And the key tool here is the time matrix, right? Breaking tasks down by urgency and importance.
Yes, we all get caught up in quadrant fighter. Urgent and important. Crises, deadlines, pressing problems, they scream for attention.
And we often get distracted by quadrant 3. Urgent, but not important. Needless interruptions, some meetings, other people's minor issues.
Exactly. They feel important because they're urgent, but they don't contribute to our core goals. The source argues that truly effective people consciously minimize time in 3 and 4, not urgent, not important time wasters, and focus significant energy on quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2, that's the important, but not urgent stuff.
The crucial zone. Things like building relationships, long-term planning, exercise, preventative maintenance, learning new skills, preparing.
The things that are easy to put off because they don't have an immediate deadline looming.
Precisely. They rarely act on you, you have to act on them. But investing time consistently in quadrant 2 activities prevents many quadrant 8 crises from happening in the first place and dramatically increases your overall capacity.
This sounds like it connects to that PPC balance idea.
Absolutely fundamental. PPC stands for production, the results, the golden eggs, and production capability, the asset or resource that produces the results, the goose.
Ah, the classic Aesop's fable. Don't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs.
Right. Effectiveness requires a balance. If you focus only on P maximizing short-term results, you often neglect PC. The ability to keep producing those results, you burn out the asset.
Like a manager driving a team for crazy quarterly numbers without any rest or training.
They get the P, the numbers maybe, but they destroy the PC. Team morale, health, long-term capability. It's unsustainable.
The source uses a parenting example too, right? Nagging a child constantly to clean their room.
Yeah, you might get the P, the room gets cleaned, maybe. But you damage the PC, the relationship, the trust, the child's internal motivation to be responsible.
So habit 3 is about managing ourselves to prioritize those quadrant 2 activities that build our PC, ensuring sustainable P. Like Bill Gates focusing relentlessly on getting the best people PC and making smart software bets.
Exactly. That's achieving private victory. You're principled, purpose-driven, and organized from the inside out. You've moved from dependence to independence.
Okay, that makes sense. So once you've achieved that internal mastery, that independence, you can't just stay there, right? We live and work with other people.
Exactly. Independence is vital, but it's not the ultimate goal. The highest level of effectiveness is interdependence, working cooperatively and productively with others. This is public victory.
And the foundation for any successful interaction or collaboration seems to be trust. The source uses the metaphor of the emotional bank account, EBA.
It's such a useful metaphor. Think of it like a financial bank account, but for relationships. You make deposits through things like courtesy, kindness, honesty, keeping promises.
Building up that trust reserve.
Right. And you make withdrawals through things like disrespect, interrupting, breaking commitments, ignoring people, being arrogant.
And when the EBA balance is high,
communication is easy, open, and effective. Mistakes are forgiven readily because there's a cushion of trust.
But when the balance is low or overdrawn,
every interaction is tense, communication breaks down, small misunderstandings become major conflicts, there's no trust margin.
The source emphasizes something important here. It's often the little things that make the biggest difference in the EBA.
Absolutely. Small, consistent kindnesses make significant deposits. And seemingly small discourtesies or broken promises can make huge withdrawals, especially over time. Attention to detail matters in relationships.
Okay, so with a healthy EBA as the foundation, we move to habit 4. Think win-win. This sounds good, but is it always realistic? Isn't life often competitive?
It's a paradigm shift. Win-win isn't just about being nice. It's a character-based principle for human interaction. It means seeking agreements or solutions that are mutually beneficial and satisfying for everyone involved.
So not win-lose. I win, you lose, or lose when I lose, you win being a doormat.
Or even lose-lose, which often happens when two stubborn win-lose people clash. Win-win sees life as a cooperative arena, not solely a competitive one.
But what if resources seem genuinely limited? Is it just compromise then?
That's where the underlying mentality matters. Someone stuck in the scarcity mentality believes there's only so much to go around, like one fixed pie. If someone else gets a big piece, there's less for them. They struggle to share credit or be genuinely happy for others' success.
Right, it feels like a zero-sum game.
Exactly. Win-win, however, requires an abundance mentality. The belief that there is plenty out there for everybody. Success isn't achieved at the expense of others. It's achieved with others. It's not just compromise, which often leaves both parties feeling a bit unsatisfied. It's about collaborating to find a better solution, a third alternative.
And there's a crucial safety net mentioned. Win-win or no deal. What's that about?
It's incredibly important. It means if you can't reach an agreement that truly benefits both parties, you agree to disagree agreeably, no deal. This prevents you from making bad compromises or feeling pressured into a lose-win situation just to make a deal happen.
It preserves the relationship and the principle. The source tells that story about the software company president.
Oh, that's a powerful one. He had an $84,000 contract on the table, but since the client wasn't fully happy or committed to the terms for a win-win outcome.
Most people would push it through.
Right. But he chose win-win or no deal. He actually walked away, prioritizing the principle and the long-term relationship over the immediate payoff.
What happened?
3 months later, that same client came back, deeply impressed by his integrity, and signed a much larger $240,000 contract where they were aligned for a win-win. Upholding the principle built massive EBA and led to a better outcome eventually.
Wow. Okay, so we've got trust, EBA, and a win-win intention. But agreements can still fall apart in the actual communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to habit 5.
Probably the most challenging habit for many people. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Why is it so hard? We all think we listen.
We hear, but we rarely listen with the intent to truly understand. Most people listen with the intent to reply. They're filtering everything through their own perspective, their own experiences, their autobiography.
So they're just waiting for a gap to jump in with their own story or advice?
Exactly. They're diagnosing the situation based on their own life, not the other person's reality. The source uses the optometrist analogy.
Right. You wouldn't trust an eye doctor who just gave you their glasses without examining your vision first.
Oh, of course not. Yet we do that constantly in communication. We prescribe solutions. You should do this. before we've deeply diagnosed the problem from the other person's viewpoint.
So how do we diagnose properly in conversation?
Through empathic listening. This isn't just active listening, nodding, paraphrasing words. It's listening with your ears, eyes, and heart. Listening for feeling, for meaning, for the underlying emotions as well as the spoken content.
So reflecting back, not just what they said, but the feeling behind it.
Yes. So you feel really frustrated about this situation, or it sounds like you're feeling undervalued. When you do this accurately, you give the other person what the source calls psychological air.
Psychological air, like oxygen.
Precisely. They feel heard, validated, understood. It diffuses tension, builds massive EBA, and only then, once they feel understood, are they generally open to being influenced or hearing your perspective. Diagnose before you prescribe.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So high EBA, win-win intent, deep understanding. What's next? Habit 6, synergize.
Synergy is where the magic happens in collaboration. It's the principle that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 3 or 10 or 100.
So it's more than just teamwork or compromise.
Much more. Synergy happens when people genuinely value differences in perspective, experience, opinion. They don't just tolerate difference, they seek it out, believing that combining diverse viewpoints can lead to new insights and solutions that no one person could have conceived alone.
Can you give an example? The source uses one about a vacation plan, I think.
Yeah, imagine a husband wants to go fishing for vacation, quiet, solitude. The wife feels a strong need to visit her ailing mother who lives near a different area.
Okay, typical conflict. Compromise would be.
Maybe they split the time, a few days fishing, a few days with mom. That's 1 + 1 = 1.5, maybe. Both get a bit, but neither is fully satisfied.
Right, so synergy would look like.
If they have a high EBA, think win-win and use empathic listening, habit 5, to truly understand each other's underlying needs, not just stated positions. They might find a third alternative.
Like what?
Maybe they find a location near the mother that also offers beautiful hiking trails, or wildlife photography spots something that fulfills the husband's need for nature and reflection in a different way, while also allowing quality time with the mother. It's a creative solution, better than either original proposal. That's synergy.
Okay, so we've journeyed through private victory, habits 1 to 3, and public victory, habits 4 to 6. We're independent and we can work effectively with others. But how do we sustain all this?
That's the critical role of habit 7. Sharpen the saw. This is the habit of self-renewal. It recognizes that you are your greatest asset, the instrument of your own performance.
And if you don't maintain the instrument?
It breaks down, you burn out, your capacity diminishes. This is a quadrant 2 activity. Important, but often not urgent, so it gets neglected.
It reminds me of that story, the person sawing furiously.
Right. Someone asks, why don't you take a break and sharpen your saw? And the saw replies emphatically, I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I'm too busy sawing.
We all fall into that trap, don't we?
We do. Sharpening the saw is a proactive choice, habit 1, essential for long-term effectiveness. It involves balanced renewal across 4 key dimensions of our nature.
Okay, what are they?
First, the physical dimension. Caring for your body, proper nutrition, sufficient rest, and regular exercise. The source particularly highlights exercise as a high-leverage quadrant 2 activity.
Why high leverage?
Because it impacts so many other areas: mood, energy, discipline, even reinforcing your proactive muscles and sense of personal vision.
Okay, physical. What's next?
The spiritual dimension. This isn't necessarily religious, though it can be. It's about connecting with your core values, your center, your commitment to your principles. Habit 2. Things like meditation, prayer, spending time in nature, listening to inspiring music, reading wisdom literature.
Renewing that inner compass. Got it. Third.
The mental dimension. Keeping your mind sharp and expanding. Continuous learning, reading broadly and deeply. The source suggests aiming for maybe a book a month, then maybe even a book a week over time. Also, writing, planning, visualizing, and critically, managing media intake, limiting passive consumption like excessive TV.
Like Bill Gates' famous Think Weeks, dedicated time just for reading and reflection.
Exactly, a deliberate mental renewal strategy. And finally, the 4th dimension.
Let me guess, related to relationships.
You got it, the social-emotional dimension. This ties back to public victory. It's about renewing yourself through meaningful connection, making consistent deposits in the emotional bank accounts of key relationships, and practicing empathic communication, habit 5. The source also mentions the power of service, especially anonymous service, for well-being.
So renewing ourselves physically, spiritually, mentally, and socially, emotionally. It's holistic.
It has to be. Neglecting one area impacts all the others eventually. Sharpening the saw is the habit that makes all the other habits possible long term.
What a journey. This deep dive really maps it out clearly, moving from dependence, achieving private victory and independence, then moving to public victory and effective interdependence.
All sustained and enhanced by continuous renewal with Habit 7. It's a powerful framework for shifting from just being busy to being truly effective, from the inside out.
And that inside out seems key. It comes back to self-awareness, doesn't it? Realizing that our security and effectiveness shouldn't depend on external factors like other people's opinions or comparing ourselves.
Exactly. True security comes from within, anchored to unchanging principles, having that solid inner core developed through these habits, not being tossed around by the social mirror.
Which brings us to a final, quite provocative thought raised by the material. If we let our sense of self-worth be dictated entirely by that social mirror, but what others think or how we stack up, what's the biggest identity theft we can possibly face?
It's when we forget who we really are at our core. When we let those external shifting standards define us, we essentially allow our identity to be stolen, and we end up just acting out scripts, maybe negative ones given to us by our past or by society.
Instead of writing our own script based on principles.
Right. The challenge, the source suggests, is to become a transition person, someone who stops those negative scripts from being passed down, who consciously chooses to live by principles and write a positive script for themselves, and by extension, influence others positively.
So tying it all together, we started by talking about climbing a ladder against the wrong wall. We visualized the legacy we want to leave back in Habit 2. The challenge for you listening then might be this. What one specific principle-centered action can you take this week, maybe a quadrant 2 action, to better align your daily efforts with that ultimate vision and start reclaiming your true principle-centered identity?